Chapter 1. Smoke over the Thames. The fog rolled in thick over London's East End, blurring neon signs and the flickering street lamps that hung like dying stars above Wapping's wet cobbles. In the heart of this murky kingdom, where whispers turned to bullets and debts were paid in blood, the Harrigan family ruled not with fear, but with legacy. Harry Souza stood at the window of the blind bishop, the Harrigans' unofficial headquarters hidden beneath a derelict Catholic church. A tumbler of aged whiskey rested in his calloused hand, his breath fogging up the cold glass. Outside, the city seethed with secrets. Inside, Harry simmered. Tom Hardy's portrayal of Harry was more than a fixer, he was the ghost in the machine. A man with no allegiance to anything but the quiet code of survival. When Conrad Harrigan pulled him from the pits of a bare-knuckle cage match 2 decades ago, he gave him more than a second chance, he gave him a war to fight in. And now that war was heating up again. Chapter 2, The Iron Crown. Conrad Harrigan, silver-haired and sharp as razors, stood before a map of London divided into sectors. Each pin marked a deal, an ally, or a grave. Beside him, Maeve Harrigan, the real power behind the throne, read a dossier in silence. The Stevensons torched our warehouse in Lambeth, Harry said flatly. Maeve didn't flinch. Casualties. 2 men. Declan's youngest. 18. Conrad's jaw flexed, his fingers curling into a fist. First blood. Maeve raised her eyes slowly. It's not the first, Con. It's just the first they were brave enough to claim. The Stevenson family, once small-time racketeers from south of the river, had grown bold under new leadership. James Stevenson, charismatic, brutal, and hungry, was done playing by the old rules. He wanted London. Harry lit a cigarette, its glow casting shadows over his scarred face. Do we hit back? Conrad's eyes were steel. No, not yet. We wait until they believe they've won. Answer. The game began. Chapter 3. The Butcher of Bow. Paddy Considine's Declan was a blunt weapon, Conrad's enforcer and Harry's oldest friend. A relic of violence in an age of corporate crime, he preferred knives to contracts. In the back room of a butcher shop, Declan met with one of the Stevenson lieutenants, a turncoat named Finch. But betrayal doesn't come cheap, and it never comes clean. You sure about this, Finch? Declan asked, slicing through pork ribs with casual precision. Finch nodded, eyes darting. James is moving something big through the docks. Tonight. Arms. Maybe more. Declan leaned in, the butcher knife still wet. If you're lying, I'll turn you into Sunday roast. The docks became a battleground at midnight. Gunfire echoed across the water, blood soaking into old shipping crates. The Harrigans won the skirmish, but Finch didn't survive to see it. He slipped, Declan said later, deadpan. Right onto a bullet. Harry didn't ask questions. In MobLand, loyalty was measured by the silence you kept. Chapter 4. The Queen's Gambit. Helen Mirren's Maeve was a woman born from fire, once a nurse in Belfast, now a strategist sharper than any blade her husband wielded. She didn't shout orders, she whispered prophecies. Maeve sat with Joanne Froggatt's Lily, the Harrigans' lawyer and their mole within the Met's organized crime unit. Over Earl Grey and shortbread, they mapped out the fall of the Stevensons. James isn't building an empire, Maeve murmured. He's building a mausoleum. He just doesn't know it yet. You think he'll overreach? Lily asked. I know men like James. Pride kills more kings than war. Meanwhile, Harry tracked Stevenson's second-in-command, Kane, through the gambling dens of Soho. Kane was erratic, brutal, but he had a weakness, family. His sister, a waitress with no ties to the life, became the key. Harry watched her from afar, not to threaten, but to understand. If Kane was human, he could be broken. Chapter 5. Blood in the Water. Tensions reached a boil when Anson Boone's young Harrigan cousin, Callum, tried to prove himself. Impatient, reckless, he led an unsanctioned hit on a Stevenson stash house in Camden. It was a massacre, wrong address, wrong targets. Civilians dead. The press exploded, the Met formed a task force. And the Stevensons struck back. Conrad's car exploded outside a Mayfair restaurant. He survived, barely. Maeve didn't blink. Callum dies, she said. Harry hesitated. He's family. So were the boys in Lambeth, she said coldly. But Harry didn't kill Callum. He staged it, blood, teeth, and all. Send the photos to the Stevensons. Message delivered, he wrote. In MobLand, illusion was often more powerful than fact. Epilogue. A new king, a tired crown. With James dead, the Stevensons fractured. Some fled, some begged for peace. The Met, now embarrassed and exposed, quietly dismantled the task force. Conrad retired to Ireland. Maeve took a villa in Spain. Harry, he stayed in London, not as a fixer, as a shadow. They say the city is quieter now, safer, but in the dark alleys, in whispered corners, the name Harrigan still holds weight. And if you see a man in a long coat by the Thames, smoking alone, keep walking. You don't want to meet the ghost of MobLand.